I posted this video to YouTube and Facebook a few months back. It was blocked on YouTube because of copyright infringement. So I edited that part out and I'm posting it again. I decided to try this project when a Facebook friend and college mate of mine, who's a radio personality in Tupelo, Mississippi, would post to my Facebook page, tell me where you are and who you are, and I'll send you a shout out. When I would see that every day or so, I would think, I don't want a shout out for myself, but it would be real cool if I had a shout out, if you would shout out Ambassador Mika. But in order for me to ask him to shout out Ambassador Mika, I would have to explain who Ambassador Mika is. And in order to do that, I would have to explain who Corey Goode is and why I would listen to Corey Goode. And in order to do that, I would have to tell some things about myself that are not well known, if known at all. And I'll jump around quite a bit because in order for this to make sense, I have to jump around quite a bit. And I have to explain something else about myself. About 2 years ago, I ran across an old college friend, another old college friend, and I talked about turning what I thought was his, I thought about an experiment of turning what I thought was his daughter into a very intelligent person, or an attempt to turn her into one of the most intelligent people who had ever lived on the planet Earth. When I talked to him, he told me, "Will, that's not my daughter, that's my granddaughter. But tell me how you're going to turn her into the most intelligent person that ever lived." And I was going, well, that wouldn't be me, it would be us. Because my friend, back in the college days, there was a college course, college calculus. And it's the same course they taught in Stand and Deliver to high school kids. And in college, it's considered one of the more difficult courses in college. My friend told me that after he passed the course that he could teach that class to a person in more like 9 weeks as opposed to a year and a half or 2 years that is normally taught in college. And I said, with that, according to what I would do, we could turn her into one of the most intelligent people in the world by the time she was 25, definitely by the time she was 28. But when he said that was his granddaughter and not his daughter, that means we couldn't really do the experiment because he would have spent a lot more time working on her education than a typical grandfather would. So at that time, I just scratched the experiment. But later on, I realized, okay, let me see if I can put my half on a YouTube post, a Facebook post, and see what happens. Okay, now those are two things. So let's go back to Ambassador Mika. The first thing, one of the reasons I listened to Corey Goode is when I was, okay, I have an uncle. I had my late uncle, Albert Curtis Osbey. His son and my cousin is a Facebook friend. He spent 12 years in the Army and 4 years in the Navy. It was either 1970 or 1971. He told me that he was in one of the most secret programs in the Navy, and that was part of his Navy experience. And I asked him, what are you talking about? He said he was in a program called 20 and Back. And I said, okay, what's the program? He said, you spend 20 years in a program. At the end of the 20 years, they reverse the age of your body, and then they send you back in time to where you signed up for the program. And of course, he also said that because they wanted him in the program, he had to make an agreement for him that they would tell him what he had done while he was in the program. Okay, so, and he said, like this 1970, 1971. So this is like a year or two after man officially lands on the moon. So when he told me he was in the program was a space program, and so on and so forth, I'm going, oh, we just landed on the moon. I remember watching it. So that couldn't be true. And he said, you tell me that you can't accept that there's a secret military program, a secret Navy program where we send people into space and back. And I said, no. He said, well, you're still young. I can understand why you can't believe the program. He said, I had a problem believing it. He said, I remember he said he was sitting at a desk and he was signing up a group of papers to go into the program. Then when he signed the last paper and pushed it to the office on the other side of the desk, he said the next thing he knew, he was on the other side of the desk in a different set of clothes. And he said he thought it was a trick, but the same guy was pushing him some papers back for him to sign, showing he had completed the program. And he said, he thought they had hypnotized him or something. But he said he had lost 6 inches in his waist. And he said there were no scars, so he said he knew they couldn't hypnotize that 6 inches off his waist that he had lost, it seemed like instantly. And he said it took him like 6 months or more to gain the weight back. So when he said that, he said like he had a problem with it. And I went, couldn't accept it. So, but when Corey Goode said, that was 1970, 1971, and my uncle, who is a real no-nonsense type of person, I can count the number of times I've seen him play in my life, actually. So he was real businesslike. And when he was at his funeral, he's buried in a military base on the Mississippi Gulf Coast. The guy at his funeral said my uncle had the most impressive, among the most impressive military records he'd ever seen. He said in all that, in the entire cemetery, he said he looked at everybody's military record. He said maybe 7 people out there who can compete with my uncle's military record, and he wished he could put more about it on his tombstone, but he was unable to because of military rule. So in 2015, when Corey Goode, I'm listening to Corey Goode, and Corey Goode said he was in a secret military program called 20 and Back, I'm thinking, wait a minute. That's the same program my uncle said he was in 35 years ago. So because my uncle said he was in that same program, and he called it a Navy program, I think Corey Goode called it a military program, I didn't change channel. I didn't stop watching. I said, okay, go ahead on. I kept going. Okay, now that was 1970, 71. And in 1995, I was working with the Office of the State Auditor for the state of Mississippi, living on the Mississippi Gulf Coast. And we had a convention meeting where we probably discussed new audit programs or new procedure for filling out paperwork of some sort. So we had a meeting in Jackson, and I lived at La Quinta Inn. When I lived at La Quinta Inn, after the meeting, 5 o'clock, 5:15, I go back to the hotel, sit down at the bar, and meet a lady, and we go back to my room. After talking in my room for a while, we decided to go out and get with some party favors. At least she decided to go. And after about 15, 20 minutes after she left, there was a knock on the door. I thought it was her. It was a guy. He wanted to talk. I wondered, what does he want? What do you want? Who are you? She said, well, she sent me. So I said, okay, come in. And he asked me if I could explain why all the spirits were here. I'm going like, what are you talking about? He said, spirits. Can you explain why they're here? What spirits? He said, the UFOs. Do you know why all the UFOs are here? I go, no. And he said, well, what's your best guess? I went, I don't know. They saw the weather satellites and communication satellites and decided to come investigate. He went, no, that's not it. What's your second best guess? I'm going, I don't have a second best guess. I never even thought of it. And to be honest with you, I didn't even know what a spear was until he explained it. I was thinking ball, but since it's not a sport, the word sphere would be a more accurate description of what was out there, or a UFO would be even more accurate description of what was out there. So when Corey Goode again said, there's spheres scattered out in space, and they're occupied by some beings, blue aliens, and crying head beings, so on and so forth. I'm going like, wait a minute now. some weird guy showed up in my room 20 years ago and asked me if I could explain why the spirit was here. Okay, so again, I'm still listening. You keep talking, I'm still listening. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere yet. Okay, now that was two incidents that happened to me personally, which means it caused me not to just write off Corey Goode as being crazy. Okay, but now a couple more things I need to explain. Okay, I'm going to attach to this video someplace, and it's on my. If you go through my Facebook post, it's on there. It's a speech by Gates, John Gates, I believe, who's an astrophysicist, one of the better known ones, Dr. Gates. Gates. And what he's talking about is, it's entitled, I believe, does space have a genetic code, or does reality have a genetic code? Anyway, it's about him believing that he had discovered in space itself coding or formula for DNA. And he talks about how you go down into certain level of magnifications, then you can't go any further. So you use math to figure out what else is left that you can't see. And one of the things that he concluded was at a certain level, if you take math to a fourth dimension, you'll see not only a formula for DNA, you will see that formula has a correcting code in it to make sure that DNA forms exactly how, according to how the code was intended, or the message that's telling it to form DNA was intended. A correcting code. It does exactly what it means. It corrects errors in DNA. Now, that's Dr. Gates. Gates, I believe his name. Then there's another guy who's his name is Luc Montagnier. If you don't know who he is, he's the guy who came up with discovered. He won a Nobel Prize for discovering the HIV virus. Discovering the HIV virus, there was a time when HIV was killing people and nobody knew what it was, and so on and so forth. But the human body is, I think, somewhere between ages 17 and 21. Most of the weight of the human body is microorganisms and not DNA. And those microorganisms vary from the type of food you eat, the shampoo and stuff you use to take a bath, the chemicals in the water you use to take a shower, the chemicals in the water you use when it rains, the chemicals in the clothes you use to wash your clothes. So depending on where you are in the world, Africa, the US, Asia, wherever, those microorganisms change. So you have to be an extremely intelligent individual to go to a human and go, that shouldn't be in anybody born on this planet, period. Don't care what you ate or what shampoo you use or whatever, that shouldn't be there. And Dr. Montagnier won a Nobel Prize and later proved to be right when he said it's HIV causes AIDS, etc. I probably need to make a short stop and say one of the things he said that informed me more, that when the head of South Africa, the president of South Africa, said the formula that he was reading for HIV causing AIDS, and the head of South Africa said that was crazy, and his scientist said that was wrong, Dr. Montagnier said he was right. The HIV in Americans and HIV in heterosexuals in Africa has two completely different pathologies. And he said, but the reason the guy in Africa was wrong was those retroviruses prevents both of them. So he was right when he's saying HIV and AIDS that he was finding in South Africa wasn't anything like the HIV and AIDS you found with the homosexuals in America and Europe. It was a completely different path. But he was wrong when he said don't take the medicine, because the medicine cured both of them. But back to my point, Dr. Montagnier has some new theories, and he's proven that water has memory. I call it molecular memory. And if you can go out and cook up some sites on Gaia, if you go to Gaia and just watch water, the spirit of water, whatever. Some Russians and other people believe water is alive. But anyway, Montagnier says it has. One of the things he proved is you can put the chemicals necessary to make DNA or parts of DNA. Okay, there's DNA, which is a protein. You have a peptide and an amino acid, which is just shorter versions, a long strand. The shortest one, I believe, is amino acids. The middle-sized one is a peptide. The longest one is the protein DNA. And you can take the chemicals and put them in water, take them out of water, and sterilize the water. And when it hits a certain charge, it'll take, and you put the chemicals to make DNA back in the water, it'll form back to that double helix, I believe, peptide. And it seems that water itself memorizes whatever it takes to make DNA. It'll memorize one part and store it, then memorize another part and store it. Then eventually when it gets everything, all the chemicals, you come in contact with all the chemicals necessary to make DNA, it'll put them all together to perform DNA. Okay, and so between that and Dr. Gates' theory, he appeared to prove that the formula for DNA is written in space itself. Well, he questioned it because it looked like he said he believed he's found it as possible. Because he believed he's found it, not only did he find it encoded, he called it coding like a computer code, but he found it encoded in the math of space, along with correcting code to correct any error in DNA. I'll attack both of those if you want to. And anyway, now, from there, I need to go to 1979. In 1979, I had a roommate, Perry Beverly, who was a political science major. He came back to the room with a news magazine of Congressman Ron Dellums from Oakland on the cover. He was freaking out. And I'm going, okay, what's the big deal with Congressman Ron Dellums? He goes, well, he's on the Armed Services Committee. What's the big deal with Ron Dellums being on the Armed Services Committee? He's the first African American to know if they're extraterrestrials at Area 51. He knows if a military hit team killed Martin Luther King. He actually knows what happened to President Kennedy. He knows information that no other black man has ever known on this earth. And he joined with a lady, and I put up Congressman Dellums. They were first, I forgot her name. I want to say Snow, but I'm not sure. But Congressman Dellums and this lady was the first non-old white men to be a part of the House Armed Services Committee. Okay, that's around 1987. There was a congressman from Tennessee, from Nashville, named Bill Boner, who left his job at the House of Representatives to run for mayor of Nashville. And when he ran for mayor of Nashville, one of his opponents said that Bill Boner's largest accomplishment as a congressman was he sponsored a bill to get like October 15 labeled National Mule Day. He said National Mule Day is getting a National Mule Day, a holiday, National Mule Day passed was the biggest accomplishment that Bill Boner achieved while he was in Congress. And now he claimed that that should qualify him to be mayor of Nashville. So around that time, I started ranking senators and congressmen from National Mule Day, biggest accomplishment, to Armed Services Committee, Intelligence Committee, Select Intelligence Committee. And that was back then when they were, I think they were appeared to be real small. Now I think there are like 60 people on the Congress Congressional Armed Services Committee, and like 25, a quarter of the senators in the country on the Senate Armed Services Committee. But when you watch news reports, they have something called key members. And it seems like only the key members get all the information, and other members act like they're still clueless, even though they're on the committee. Okay, so then I started, well, every time no matter what I was doing, especially in school, I could be writing a paper, doing an accounting problem, whatever, and watching Nightline or some other show, news show, and they would say John Doe or Jane Doe from the Intelligence Committee or Armed Service Committee And I was stopping what I was doing and just listening to what they had to say. And what I noticed was, from 3 interviews in particular, the journalist would ask at the end of the discussion, whether it was Star Wars weapon system or whatever, were there leaks in the Intelligence Committee or the Armed Services Committee? And they would always answer yes. I mean, the first 3 of them in a row said yes. And they all said, when the journalist would ask them, well, where are the leaks? And they all said Hollywood or the entertainment industry, to that effect. They would go Hollywood or, you know. So one journalist asked, well, how do you know there are leaks? And he asked a lady on the committee. She said, that's because, she said, so, well, first she said, some of the television shows and movies I watch are based totally on the premise that were taken from America's top secrets, or best kept secrets. And the journalist said, how do you know this? She said, well, they also would say things, they use phrases that would let her know that it wasn't a coincidence. So she could tell from the premises, tell from what she saw on the show, that the information is leaking directly out of Senate and Congressional Intelligence Committee, Armed Services Committee, directly into Hollywood, coming out as movies and television shows. And I thought about that, and I said, that's the third person who said Hollywood has access to all the information. So I started watching shows, trying to figure out what could she be talking about. And the first one that came to my attention was I watched a movie with starring, I think, Jeff Bridges, Starman. And you can Google it. It's a movie about an extraterrestrial coming to Earth. He got to get to a big crater in order to go home, or he'll miss a deadline and die. And in the movie, the woman who was helping him asked him, why did he reach out to Earth? And he said, he didn't reach out to Earth. Earth reached out to him. He just answered. And then when I saw in the movie Contact with Jodie Foster, the extraterrestrial playing her father, who presented himself as a father, she asked him, why did he reach out to human? And he said, I didn't reach out to human. The human reached out to us, so we just answered. And I said, that's a strange coincidence. Both aliens, extraterrestrials, and a rare movie extraterrestrial give the exact same answer to the exact same question. And then I went from there to like Will Smith killed one in the 4th of July, killed an extraterrestrial in an extraterrestrial war, and all of them died. Then Tom Cruise makes another movie, Live, Die, Repeat, or Return to Forever, or whatever it is, tomorrow, where there is a war in extraterrestrial, kill one extraterrestrial, all of them fall dead. I'm going like, wait a minute, I'm seeing these patterns. And then I'm realizing, I understand what she sees. There are certain things that may be coincidence, but I doubt if they're coincidence, that could easily be related to secrets. So, and when Corey Goode talks, Corey Goode would talk about, and Corey Goode is a person who said he was on a program called 20 and Back, where he spent 20 years on a secret space program research vessel. And when they tried to wipe his memory back and send it back in time, they wiped his memory back, sent it back in time, but after a certain period of time, his memory started coming back. And now he have a lot, he can recall a lot of what he did and a lot of what went on the government research vessel. And he also said what he said is the same thing that there's another guy named William Tompkins and other people, is that the universe is full of life. It appeared to be just like some of the extraterrestrials, as he said, space, when space comes in contact with a planet or a terrestrial body, it looks for the chemicals to make DNA or life. And I remember David Wilcox said, well, there's other Earth-like planets. If we mess with this planet, we can go to it. We go to another one. We can go to that one. And Corey went, no. If life can exist on that planet, life is there already. And if we go anywhere other than this planet to live, we would have to take it from somebody. Somebody is there living if life can exist there. We have to take it. So in all these stories and all that come from all these whistleblowers, they say the same thing. Life is everywhere. Okay, now, that's why I still listen to Corey Goode. Now, how did I get to Corey Goode? Okay, as a young person, I tried to make honor roll starting in junior high school, and when I focused on it for the entire 9 weeks, I was successful. So I started trying to be as smart as I could. I got to college, we competed in high school. Then we got to college, you start competing among your friends. Then you compete with the larger student body. Then you realize, or I realized, we realized, that the international students were extremely bright. And so we ended up competing with them because it was at the top of the class. And after you compete with them, at a certain point, you start competing with the professors. You start with the grad students, then you go from there to the tenured professors, the one with the PhDs who can't be fired, who've been there forever. Then after that, you move from there to the people in those intelligence committees and armed service committee and try to figure out what they're doing. Then from there, you go to the black ops professors. You go to the people who tell the people on the Senate Armed Services Committee and the Intelligence Committee what's going on. Then you come, there are people who blow whistles. But a guy named Pete Peterson pretty much started a floodgate. When I say floodgate, he came in and I spent a lot of my time at Area 51. I create devices for this and that. My big thing is medicine, try to help people live longer, da 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 da. Then when he started talking, he had some stuff that he wouldn't talk about, like AI, artificial intelligence. Then after AI, then Corey Goode came on the scene. When Corey Goode came on the scene, they were going like AI seemed to be a extra dimensional signal coming into our galaxy universe, and it pretty much tell nanotechnology that they are free, independent life forms, to the point that when that signal hit them, they will attempt to kill the people who created them to become independent life forms. And Corey Goode took from that, and he kept going. Then another gentleman joined on the scene, William Tompkins. When William Tompkins came on the scene, he talked about a lot of things that I guess I'll get into later. But everybody has to say, okay, when I was in college, I went back to speak to my high school once, and I had to speak plain out. And I talked to one of my friends, Anthony Martin, and Anthony was going like, Will, you cannot talk to high school students the way we talk. You could drive them crazy. And so at the last minute, I had to cancel my entire speech and didn't have much to say. But when I got back to college, I talked to some psychology students, and they were going, Will, it doesn't work that way. The mind has built-in defenses, or built-in defense. So what do you mean? When you push information to the human brain faster than it can accept, or more than it can accept, the brain doesn't go crazy. The brain says the sender of the message is crazy and cuts them off and keeps on going. The brain, that's a built-in defense mechanism. When the mind cannot accept the information that's coming to it, it tells itself the sender is crazy. So everybody, that all the whistleblowers seem to have a different point where they say, this is how much the human mind can accept, so I'm going to stop here. And that's fascinating when William Tompkins said some of the stuff he said. Then he said, but I'm not going to tell you any more than this because you asked, what am I smoking or what are we smoking? But so now that's why I'm listening to Corey Goode. Now, Corey Goode, I'm going to add a clip into who Ambassador Meek is. And Ambassador Meek appeared to be an extraterrestrial from a star not far from here who was an ambassador. And he approached Corey Goode and some the bird-like human that Corey Goode talks about, who seem to get respect from all the other extraterrestrials, respect and no fear from the other extraterrestrials. And he introduced himself. He said his planet went through what the Earth is going through. He loved our music. He loved our culture. And he wants the people on the Earth to know they have friends in outer space that will help them get through what we're going through in the future, just reach out to them, etc. And to my knowledge, that was like the coolest thing I'd ever heard. It was like the first extraterrestrial I'd ever heard about that said, I'm going to talk directly to the people with the internet shows and not go to that take me to your leader type thing that everybody else, a lot of them are doing. And I was thinking, if he's going to say hello Earth to people on internet shows, I got to say, hey, hello, how you doing, Ambassador Mika? Nice to know you want to help us. We need your help. If I could ask for any help in particular, I would love a believable explanation to what everybody is calling co-creative consciousness. That if we could make this planet so much better by thinking and meditating, and I'm thinking like we do in religion, but I'm thinking between Islam, Christianity, and Judaism, Islam and Judaism was like at war. Before then, it was Islam and Christianity during the Crusades. It was like all the people, if this is science is solid, the biggest problems on this planet that I can see should not exist. Because the people have separated themselves into religion where they should be praying for peace and harmony. And actually what we have is perpetual war between those groups. So I find everything that I could test doing physics, and that's pretty much what I'm studying, is physics from them. All that stuff is good, but some of the other stuff, this metaphysical stuff like co-creative consciousness, help us. If you can help us do that, that would be cool. Now, this is the first part of two, probably three posts. My next post will be directly solely going after trying to lay down the principles that can take a child from 3, 4, 5-year-olds to one of the most intelligent people in the history of the world by 28. Because basically you just go from reading to the whistleblowers, and that'll be slow. Oh, one more thing, and since we're gonna do that, one more thing that we need to talk about with Gates is there a genetic basis for reality, or genetics written reality? Okay. He talks about the code for DNA appearing to be found in space with a corrective code. Okay, then that's one thing real important. Okay, but he talks about something called adinkras. Now, in getting an education, between after you get your bachelor's degree, you have to get a master's degree or PhD, and you write a thesis or dissertation. And that's when you write a paper about things on the fringes of your science that you can explain why it should be part of accepted science. Now, that's called making the jump. Making the jump from what we know is accepted and bringing in stuff that we don't know that should be accepted. Except for the smartest people in the world, the people who got credit for being some of the smartest people in the world, let's say they kind of cheated. When I say kind of cheated, they reversed, they went backwards. For example, Albert Einstein, there were reports that Albert Einstein discovered that he was recording something called the Torah code, or his like hidden codes in the Torah, and it said that he would discover certain things. So once he saw his name in the Torah code and what he would discover, he went back to a tradition of science and worked his way towards that and tried to bring the two together. That's called back engineering or reverse engineering, or working backwards, or some people say he just cheated. Okay, and when in something else I posted, a letter to my unborn child once, they asked Pete Peterson. Pete Peterson say, there are countries on the earth with time machines. You go, where do you get the time machine from? He said, we got on, there was, how the building was written in cuneiform script found in Samaria years back, and some other stuff they got from the Vatican Library. So it would mean he didn't go to college, get a PhD in physics, and went out and took what he learned in college to build a time machine. They found some artifact that showed them how to build a time machine and worked their way back from that. That's common for the people who end up being the smartest people in the world. Okay, when Gates on the clip of Maddie said he met a guy named Michael Fox, who told him to call from his work adinkras, used a symbol for adinkras. And when he said that, I recognized adinkras as symbols, as a name used for Dogon symbols. Now Dogon is some people in Mali now who says people came down from Sirius B, told them what the earth was made of, what the world was made of, what space was made of. And they call it cosmology, how the cosmos work. So when Dr. Gates was going forward, it seemed like he ran across a guy named Michael Fox who was going backwards. He said, okay, how the universe works and what space is. Dr. Gates is going this way. The Dogon, everybody except the Dogon were still ahead of us, according to the latest authority. What's his name? I forgot his name. Scranton. The Dogon is still ahead of us, and they're coming backwards. So this guy was coming backwards. So one of the keys to being one of the smartest people in the world is when you make that jump, find the people who know enough about what's going on to say, this is definitely what's going on, and let's go back from here. Right now, they are people like Dr. Pete Peterson, Corey Goode, and Bill Tompkin. There are people saying, that guy's gonna be, time will eventually prove this guy to be a genius. That was wrong, that was an idiot. And that's Tompkin and Pete Peterson, who say they work with aliens actually, extraterrestrials. And almost everything we learn in college is wrong, but you pretty much have to go through college just to be able to write the science. Even though he said physics is wrong, mathematics is wrong, even astrology is wrong. Astronomy is wrong. Not astrology, astronomy is wrong. I get those two confused. And it appeared that David Wilcox said, okay, that's wrong, tell us what's right. And then he give you a long spiel about this is the mistakes being made this time, this is the mistakes being made this time, this mistakes time, and this time. But Corey Goode is different. Corey Goode is different when you say he was not a scientist, he was just a person with intuitive empath, like Dana Troy on Star Trek Next Generation. He can tell when a person is being deceptive, and this is also covered in Dr. Gates' work. When the lady asked him about what can thoughts do to small particles, he said nothing, it's two different energies. According to Dogon, you can change particles with your thoughts. Okay, when you think, you produce something called alpha waves, which is nothing more than a plain old electromagnetic wave you use to make telephone calls, change remotes on televisions, just electromagnetic wave. Your thoughts produce them. Russians done a lot of work with them. Primitive work where they use spider web and matches, etc., to track the movement in thought waves, but anyway, thought waves. And according to Pete Peterson, thought waves go infinitely. They can go across the other side of the galaxy at the speed of light, other side of the universe at the speed of light. And they also go into the past and the future, everywhere, everywhere. But the Dogon said you could change matter with them once you get to the smallest piece of matter. So that's three things that's important with the tape about Dr. Gates. Michael Fox is going backwards because Dr. Gates is going forward toward the Dogon and approaching the Dogon. Fox seemed to know what the Dogon said and believe he know exactly what Dr. Gates is going to find. That's one thing. The other thing is Dr. Gates said it appears that he discovered a code for DNA written in space itself. That's the second thing. And the third thing is the girl who asked the first person off the internet, who asked, what does thought waves have to, can thought waves change matter at the smallest form? She too is working her way backwards from what the Dogon said the extraterrestrial from Sirius taught them that space was. Those are the three things. Ambassador Mika, hope you're there if you can. Appreciate you reaching out to mankind directly as opposed to going through government leaders who act like they're so much better than we are that they can accept extraterrestrial life throughout the universe. But none of the scientists on the planet other than a few working at Area 51 and some other places can. So nice to meet you. Originally, I included a copy of Corey Goode discussing his first encounter with Ambassador Mika, but that caused a copyright infringement problem. So now I'm replacing it with a computer reading Corey Goode's written version of his first encounter with Ambassador Mika.
My attention was then drawn back into the sphere where Tyrier and another individual were now standing about 10 feet away from me. I greeted Tyrier and glanced over at the person standing next to him. They were looking back at me with some of the most compassionate eyes I have ever seen. The new person was about 5 foot 5 inches tall and wearing a shiny green robe and light brown sandals. His face had what appeared to be a mixture of ethnic features, including African characteristics. His eyes were brown, the same size as ours, and his hair had a salt and pepper appearance, with more black hair than white. His face looked like that of an older individual of his race, thanks to the appearance of wrinkles. His skin was about the color of those who live in North Africa at this time, except his skin also had a very slight orange tint to it. His head was of a slightly different shape than ours, more round, but overall he looked very human. I thought to myself, I wonder if this is how it felt when the Native Americans and Spaniards first saw one another. I noticed how long we had been standing in silence when he finally spoke. I am sure my jaw dropped when he addressed me in perfect English. I couldn't discern any accent at all. He called out to me by the name that the Blue Avians address me as. He introduced himself as Muka. He stated that his planet resides in our local star cluster and that his people are our stellar cousins, sharing about 94% of the same genetics. He claimed that he was an ambassador from his system of planets to Earth. Muka said his people have been enamored by our cultures and arts, but have always been disturbed by our capacity for violence. He further stated that his people had resided on Earth in the past as refugees during his own people's battle for freedom. He stated that it had only been a few generations since his people had overcome the tyrannical beings that had enslaved them. I asked Muka why he was speaking to me in English and not communicating non-verbally. He stated that he is perfectly capable of communicating non-verbally, but would rather speak in my native tongue. He then said his people have been combing through our radio, television and internet data from their beginnings to get to know more about how our current society behaves, and where we are on a consciousness level. Many of his people are now viewing our various forms of entertainment and delivery of information out of curiosity. He stated that many of his people were excited about the prospect of being able to come to Earth in the future to assist us, after we had obtained true sovereignty from the same beings that had enslaved them. Mika further stated that he had worked closely with Tir during his own people's struggles, and that they had recently gone through a process very similar to what we are undergoing. He stated that his people didn't have as many challenges as are found on the Earth, but that there were numerous similarities. He said that if we were willing to accept it, their input would be highly valuable in the not-too-distant future. We spoke a little more about what his people would like to do alongside humanity in the future. Then he ended the conversation abruptly and bid me farewell. I was sort of taken aback by how quickly the conversation ended, and expected Tir to then communicate. I then saw a blue orb come from behind them and zip directly to a point in front of my chest before rapidly taking me back to the bedroom. I have a feeling I haven't seen the last of Ambassador Mika.
Oh, and Ambassador Mika, if you're there, and since you have 90% of the DNA that we have, we share 97% of the same DNA, and you love our music and our culture, I think the term cosmic cousin is too distant. I prefer the term extraterrestrial brother. Peace.